Court does call the case of the People versus Rashonda Jefferson. Counsel, state your appearance, please.
Hold on, Reed, Assistant Public Defender, with on behalf of Ms. Jefferson. You state your name for the record.
All right. Date and time set for sentencing. Ms. Blair.
Yes, Your Honor. Jamie Nelson, the mother of the victim's child, is present, and she would like to address the
All right. All right. Before we do that, counsel, your client has read the pre-sentence report.
Yes.
Are there any material deletions, corrections, or additions to that?
There are no factual corrections, deletions, or additions there.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. What's your name, please?
My name is Jamie Nelson.
All right. Go.
I'm Jason's mom.
All right. Go ahead.
Sweating, struggling to force my lungs to swallow air. I wake up in the middle of the night as an image of my child being abused. This woman, Ms. Jefferson, replays relentlessly in my mind. As an adult, I can share how this personal impact of this disgusting crime. I'm not sure we'll ever be able to overcome the guilt I feel as a parent because I was not able to protect my son from this woman. She refused to hear my pleas to understand my child's disability. I blame myself that I did not fight higher with what she said to me on the very first day. They say I can't hit kids, so I don't know what you expect me to do with him. I now live in a constant state of fear when Jace is under the care of an individual I do not personally know. At work, I've been less able to help my own at-risk high school students as they worry about trusting the safety of my own son in the school system that I so love. It is a parent's nightmare to receive a phone call from the police and hear the words, "I need to speak to you about your child." The call was to report that Ms. Jefferson did to my son, but for a moment, the world stopped, and I waited to hear that the child had been killed. As a fourth-generation public educator, I'm now scared to send my son to school. His faith has been destroyed by Ms. Jefferson. School is supposed to be a safe haven for children. Ms. Jefferson took this sense of security from my family. Teaching high school in Romulus and Belleville for the last 23 years, there's a sign in my classroom that says, "This is a safe place," on my classroom door. I had students throw scissors across the room and scream in my face, yet I still kept them safe and knew that I must remain the professional, knowing that my students had special needs, just as my son has, even if theirs may come from things like living in a homeless shelter or witnessing violence. I devoted my life to provide for the safety of thousands of students in our public school system. She couldn't take care of my one. I get physically ill replaying the moment I watched Ms. Jefferson ignore Jason's cries for help as he hung upside down from the legally and incorrectly fastened harness. This disgusting part of the video was not even shown in the court, but as a mother, it is an image of her face, spiteful and condescending, and she tells my autistic son that she won't help him as he begs, screaming for help. I fear this image may never leave me, and I know the sound of his screams never will. I can tell you how watching that video in a suffocating small police interrogation room changed every moment of my life forever. I'm inherently empathetic and compassionate, yet knowing that Ms. Jefferson repeatedly slapped my disabled child as he was restrained on a special education bus, it's forced me to grapple with my faith in humanity. As an adult, I can put the impact into words, but devastating me and most important as an impact of this case, Jace is too young to share his words about how being physically abused by Ms. Jefferson, an adult he was supposed to trust, in a place that he was supposed to be safe, will affect him now and always. He can't tell us of the fear he experienced as he ran straight from the bus each day, refusing to speak and slammed the house door, sometimes locking me outside. He can't tell us what through his mind as he sat staring blankly, refusing to even mention the bus ride, or how when his mom told him to behave on the bus, blaming him because she only knew the side of Ms. Jefferson's false story, how confused he must be that his mom was allowing someone else to abuse him over and over. Jace doesn't have the words, or maybe lacks the ability yet to process how being abused by a public school employee has increased his disdain and aversion aversion to school and lack of trust of adults, along with his inability to feel safe in this world. Jace had to move to another school system after this abuse, and for a child with autism, that change can be devastating. After the abuse, Jace had and continues to have major emotional dysregulation in school. His ability to establish relationships with adults has been diminished. Whenever I've ever had to bring up the one bus driver His pulse raises, eyes widen, and he will adamantly say he never wants to talk about that mean lady who hates him again. His entire demeanor changes as he relives the hell Miss Jefferson inflicted on him. In addition to Jay, 6 other special needs children witnessed this abuse. They were told by her to fear police officers and threaten that they were going to jail as 8-year-olds. As our most vulnerable population, their trust in adults and authority figures is diminished. These children also can't share their voices today, but they chose to show how effective their word of courage to both the teachers and social. You probably have seen the national news and outcry that these actions have caused. Across the nation, people are disgusted. Jace was 7 years old at the time. With a big smile, a love for sports, and his cats, Maisie and Moby, Jace faces constant struggles in life to his disabilities and special needs. When Miss Jefferson physically and verbally abused him, she multiplied these challenges for Jace. Her cruelty crushed and altered lives of not only an innocent child, but also a devoted full-time single mom and a loving teenage brother. Sorry.
It's okay. No, you're good. Just take your time. You're fine, right? We've got all day if necessary. So you just just go ahead.
With full confidence, I can assure you that this is not the only time Miss Jefferson abused Jace. This is the only video that was viewed for this case. However, this was not the only incident. In the 2 months that Jace rode the bus, he started to act out during the last hour of school day and begged if he had picked up rather than riding the bus multiple times. He got off the bus with shoes missing, panting, and sweating on numerous occasions. I had to pick him up hysterical on the side of the road in a different neighborhood as Miss Jefferson screamed at me from the bus. This day and many others, Miss Jefferson called me multiple times on my personal cell phone, which I don't know how she got, as she yelled at Jace in the background and threatened me that she was going to have him not be able to ride the bus. The extreme distress Jace showed that day of the video was repeated on numerous occasions, and Jace eventually reported that she had hit him many other times, but that he didn't tell me because he thought he'd get in trouble. As the full videos for every bus ride are now under review, I shake at the thought of what I will see and will not be surprised if we end up in court again after further abuse is discovered. Miss Jefferson has shown absolutely no remorse this entire case. At her arraignment, she stated that she had another school bus aide job set up in Ohio and laughed as she told Judge Simpson that she did this to be done with so she could once again work with children. This was abuse. This changed a child and a family's life forever. This caused national outrage. I am a forgiving person, so Miss Jefferson makes that very difficult as she walks in the courtroom as if the entire process was an inconvenience for her as she rolls her eyes and pouts in her chair. I pity her. I pity how she has been hardened by this world in such a way that she feels the need to take frustration out on an innocent child. I am trying not to hold a vengeful heart, but her callous disregard to the harm she has caused disgusts me. Shonda, I truly am sorry that this world has been so hard on you to close your heart off in a way, the way that you were able to do what you did and not feel bad about it. You broke the mother code to keep each other's children safe. That's what we do. We keep each other's children safe. You betrayed this code and me, and you lied to me and talked about being a single mother and having a schizophrenic son and how you had my back and you're looking out for me. It was all lies. I truly hope you find healing in your heart to be kinder to others in the future, not because you were caught, but because you have seen the damage and the actions you have caused. What I pray for now is that as we watch the other videos, there are no incidents of other violence, although sadly, I don't expect that to be the case. Judge Simpson, I'm forever grateful that you found Miss Jefferson guilty of child abuse, so that she'll never be able to abuse another child at work again. Other children's teachers, and the fact that this video brought attention to how our special needs children are often treated as less than in this world, are glimpses of positivity from this work experience.
Thank you. Ms. Reed.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have reviewed the recommendation from probation with my client. Obviously, there is a 60-month probation recommendation, which is quite serious, and she is understanding that she will have to comply with that. There's also a 15-day jail recommendation, and Ms. Jefferson would just like to ask if there was any way for the court to suspend that, as she has significant health issues. She is a person that multiple people in her family rely on for support, and she is also presently the only person at her place of employment, and would cause significant distress for them as well if she had to be taken into custody. She would lose her job and lose the stability that she provides for multiple family members. As I said, there is also a recommendation for 16 months of probation, which is 5 years and is quite significant. And she does understand and is willing to accept that portion of the recommendation. And she is just hopeful that if there is any way for her to avoid any time in custody, that the court would be willing to consider that.
Jefferson, anything you want to say to the court before I impose sentence? And if you do, you need to come up to the podium. Counsel, you may want to join.
Good morning. We're getting on time. Just to start off, Ms. Simpson, I would like to apologize for today, dates or whatever, you know, the harm I did, whatever. But I truly apologize from the bottom of my heart, because I lost my first child, especially the kid as well, but I would never abuse a child. So my thing now is for I accept whatever charge I was given. I was just asking as far as the lenience towards, like, my daughter just moved to Mississippi here. She came under a job and she got hired for it, and I'm the only one that can babysit my grandbaby at night. It's my only piece for 15 days. If I do 15 days, I'm probably my job now. It's my own school. So that's something that I just ask the court to kind of please, you know, be there towards the 15 days, whatever it's I'm given, I can, you know, accept that. So it's like my daughter, she starts work, and she starts her orientation this week, and like I literally have nobody to eat my grandbaby at night. So that's my only thing as far as 15 days. Anything else, I take full responsibility. So that's all. I don't have much to say. Is, you know, accepting the choice, whatever the decision is, I accept it. I'm truly like sorry, like I didn't mean for this to happen. I have a heart, I really do. So I don't want anybody to feel like I have a cold heart, which I really don't.
Ms. Valera, you rose.
Yeah, sure. I just wanted to bring it to the court's attention. Some of the statements that is being made, I did take that into consideration when I made the recommendation for sentencing. I mean, the actions in this case, especially on a child that is 17 years old, I believe that there is a need or deserves some sort of jail sentence. And so with her situation, I did take that into consideration with the recommendation that I provided.
Thank you. Anything else? Court imposes sentence. Let me first start out by at least this court's last observation. You know, Ms. Jefferson, as I listen to you start out your elocution, you turned around to Jace's parents and you, I guess the way I look at it, or what you portrayed to this court, was sort of a very sort of shorthanded shrift of what Jace's mom just got up here and said.
Yes, I understand.
No, I don't think you do. I really don't think you do. Because after making what maybe in words was an apology, but certainly I don't think in one's heart was an apology.
A routine courtroom hearing suddenly turned into complete chaos when the defendant refused to follow the judge's instructions. What started as a simple legal proceeding quickly escalated into a tense confrontation filled with interruptions, heated exchanges, and shocking reactions from everyone inside the courtroom. As the judge struggled to maintain order, the entire room watched in disbelief, knowing this case was about to take an unexpected turn.
Every next, ma'am, if you want to continue to, no, I'm just going to tell you, if you want to continue to allocute, I'll let you do that. Okay? I will let you say whatever you want to say to this court before I impose sentence. I will not be interrupted once I begin my sentence. So if you have more to say, please do. Well, thank you for allowing me to continue in my court. But after that, and I'll just call it what it is, because that so-called apology just now. Everything that then came out of your mouth was not about Jace. It wasn't about what happened that day. Everything that came out of your mouth was all about you. About why you can't do this, why you can't do that. And I guess that's fine because you're sentencing, but that video, what you did to that child, I don't even understand, to be honest with you, how that whole process started out. I cannot even imagine what could be going through, and I think it might have been the driver, that individual, and then you. I just don't even know where the mindset starts to do what you did. I don't think you understand. And to do it to a child that already has challenges. I mean, Ms. Jefferson, it might have been certainly bad enough and would have been horrible had it been on a 7-year-old that doesn't have disabilities, doesn't have those things in life that make sometimes life difficult, who could maybe verbalize to you what's going on. That would have been bad enough. But you have Jace. Some of those things he can't do. And you know that. I mean, that's part of the problem. You know he can't. And maybe in some bizarre twist for you that made it okay because he can't tell. Because he can't, in some ways, verbally defend himself. I don't, even if in the moment, and I don't think this is the case, but even if in the moment you sort of lost control, lost your head, because everybody, that happens. But then what people do is they reflect upon what they've done. maybe one advantage to you reflecting upon that is that there's a video of what you did. I listened very closely to the testimony that was in the case, and not only on a certain level should you have not done what you did, but you weren't even authorized to use the instrument that you used to do it. You didn't have the permission to do that, but you just did it. And I'm going to tell you, as it happened, it was almost as if it were planned. That's what was going to happen that day. Because as I looked at everybody kind of moving around, and there wasn't any hesitation, any like conversation that, well, let's do this because this is, it was almost as if I'm going to hand you this child, he's screaming, and we're just going to, I can't put it, we're just going to strap him down. That's what we're going to do. Not for a good reason, as if to make the child's life better, but solely to make your life better and easier at that moment. It's Jefferson. Some people don't think maybe I'm paying attention sometimes, but I watched you watch how you acted through that entire trial. I listened to you today, and I have to agree. You have no remorse. You have no understanding of what you've done. None. Now, it may be one thing when people are sitting in a trial and certain evidence is coming out and they react a certain way. But typically, especially in cases like this, between the time that happens and I pronounce guilt and the time of sentencing and the ability to have conversations and, again, to reflect on what may have happened, they change, or at least have an appreciation for what happened, or at least an understanding for why people may feel different about what they did. Regrettably for you, Ms. Jefferson, and maybe regrettably for us all, I expected to see that from you today. But regrettably, I didn't. I didn't in your voice, in what you said, in anything. See any caring or concern about what you did to the child. And I don't, in some ways, I don't understand that lack of feeling. She got up, and what she was saying to me, and I get it, I come from a long line of educators too. Primary job. It doesn't matter. They can be kindergartners, they can be college students, they can be whatever. The primary job of that instructor or that person in the courtroom is to protect those children. And in a lot of ways, as my parents would say to me, that's because that's somebody's baby. But she got up here and I have to give her credit because I'll be honest with you, if that were my child, I do not know that I could have.
The tension inside the courtroom kept building as the defendant argued with both the judge and court officers, refusing to stay quiet despite multiple warnings. Every response made the situation worse, and the judge's patience slowly disappeared. Spectators could feel the pressure rising as attorneys exchanged nervous looks while officers stood ready nearby. Then came the moment nobody expected. The judge delivered a powerful response that completely changed the atmosphere of the courtroom. Suddenly, the person who thought they were in control realized the court was not playing games. What happened next shocked everyone watching and instantly turned this hearing into a viral courtroom moment online.
We even tried to address it. She got up here and spoke as a mother, not necessarily as a victim, or she spoke on behalf of her child. She spoke as a mother. And I don't know how a person hears that. And as I look at you even right now, it has no effect on you. It is as though you don't care. Typically, when I'm going to sentence somebody and I have absolute trust and faith in my probation department, what they take into account, what they don't take into account, and in terms of fashioning their sentence. And I appreciate what Ms. Flair has said because I know how she works. I know that she has taken everything that everybody, all of that information, taken it into account and synthesized it into the sentence. It is a sentence of the court. You will serve 60 months probation. You will pay $655 fines and court costs, $1,800 probation oversight fees. How are you going to pay that, man? It'll be a payment plan as arranged by probation. There is to be no use of alcohol, recreational marijuana, or any illegal drug. You'll be subject to random testing as requested by probation. You are to complete the anger habits program. You are to complete 50 hours of community service. You're to complete 100 hours of community service. I'm changing that. There is to be no contact with Jay Swookie or Jamie Nelson, directly or indirectly. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
There is to be no use of any type of corporal punishment toward any child. You understand that, ma'am? There is to be no assaultive, threatening, or intimidating behavior. You are not to possess any weapons, firearms, or ammunition, or anything fashioned to be a weapon. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
You are to report to probation as requested by probation, and that will include any home visits. You're to maintain employment with verification to probation. With regard to the jail sentence, ma'am, you know, I don't mean to be flippant about it necessarily, but I'm just going to tell you this. I don't really care if you lose your job. I really don't. Because what you did to that child that day, what you did to somebody's baby that day, in my mind is inexcusable. Any harm that any jail I impose upon you causes, doesn't even compare to the harm you caused that child that day. One day, that 15, 20 minutes, the harm you caused that child. Nothing that you will go through will compare to that. And you need to understand that. And if it takes you a while to sit in the Washtenaw County Jail and think about it, well, I got 360 reasons why you may have to start thinking about it. Court orders 365 days in the Washtenaw County Jail. I will give credit for 2 days served. Defendant is remanded to serve an additional 30 days as opposed to the 15. Defendant, and then the balance will be suspended. Defendant's remanded. Anything further, Counsel?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Blair. That's it for us for today.
Yes.
I think it is. 14A.
As the hearing continued, the courtroom became more intense with every passing second. The defendant repeatedly tried to challenge the authority of the court, interrupting the proceedings and refusing to cooperate. The judge remained calm at first, carefully explaining the legal process and giving several opportunities to comply. But instead of listening, the defendant became even more aggressive, speaking over the judge and attempting to argue every instruction given in court. You could see the frustration growing across the courtroom. The attorneys looked stunned, court staff stayed alert, and even the spectators seemed uncomfortable as the confrontation escalated. The judge then issued a final warning, making it absolutely clear that the courtroom would not tolerate disrespect or disruption. But the defendant ignored that warning completely. That was the turning point. Within moments, court officers stepped forward as the situation spiraled out of control. The defendant continued shouting while officers attempted to restore order, creating a dramatic scene that nobody inside the courtroom would forget. The judge immediately took control of the hearing, proving why respect for the court is taken so seriously. What began as a normal case had now transformed into one of the most chaotic and unbelievable courtroom moments viewers had ever seen. Videos like this continue going viral because they reveal the raw reality of courtroom pressure, where emotions, authority, and consequences all collide in real time. And in this case, one bad decision after another turned a simple hearing into a moment that thousands of people are now talking about online.